2 weeks ago, the Obama administration released an initial $27 billion of the $787 billion economic stimulus package known as the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. The money was on its way to states to be used for repairing roads, bridges, and highways. It could be a good time for buyers. Projects that get underway immediately can take advantage of low steel prices. I'm Paul Tague, editor of Purchasing Magazine.
And I'm Tom Stunza, executive editor. And this is the March 16th edition of Purchasing's Midday Business Report. Here are the stories we're following for you this week.
Wide-flange steel beam prices to drop.
Shredded scrap steel prices are low.
Steel reinforcing bar prices continue down.
Hot roll sheet steel prices slide.
Aluminum prices drop slightly.
Copper prices remain flat.
Printed circuit board prices will rise in Q3 and stabilize.
Polysilicon shipments increase.
And an important tip for saving on travel.
First, we invite you to attend a free webcast March 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern on risk management. Panelists include Mark Pertilar, CPO of Goodyear, and Tony DePaula, Head of Procurement at Linde North America, who will discuss hidden risks, warning signs to watch for, and how to deal with key suppliers potentially at risk. They'll also answer your questions. Register at purchasing.com. Now, the news.
The passage of the federal economic stimulus package has come none too soon for steel suppliers who've seen prices drop steadily over the last 6 months and are hoping stimulus money will boost demand. Buyers are hoping so too, so they can take advantage of the low prices while they last.
How low are the prices? Buyers tell us that in February they paid $839 per ton for wide-flange steel beams, the structural steel used in bridges. That's 25% less than the August peak of $1,116. And some buyers say they expect transaction prices to go down to $814.
Lack of demand, of course, is behind the falling price, but even if the stimulus package boosts demand, there's another factor that will temper any rapid price increase, and that's the price of shredded scrap. Most mills base their surcharges for steel beams on the shredded scrap price. It was $218 a ton last month, 63% off its peak of last July.
Another steel product that could get a boost from the stimulus package is reinforcing bar. Rebar is used in bridges and highways. The transaction price fell to $533 per ton in February, 45% lower than its August 2008 peak of $970.
Now, many analysts are saying that the stimulus program won't boost demand and prices for these steels anytime soon because of the time it takes to get infrastructure projects approved and working. But there are deadlines. States have to get approval to start spending the money they've allotted within 120 days of March 3rd, or they lose it. Maryland got approval and is spending some of its funds now. Charlie Gishler, a spokesman for the Maryland Highway Department, told us they already had projects on the drawing board when Congress passed the bill and immediately sought and received approval. Presumably, other states are at a similar point of readiness. If they are, and it's a big if, the price freefall could end.
Of course, structural steel is not the only steel product whose falling prices could be affected by the stimulus program. Hot rolled steel sheet used in cars, appliances, buildings, and consumer goods fell to $499 a ton last month, or 53% less than the peak of last July. If there's an increase in consumer spending, the automotive and appliance industries could get stronger. Demand could go up, and prices could go up with them. That's the theory anyway. But right now, Goldman Sachs analyst Sal Durrani is forecasting that weak demand will spill over into next year and that prices will continue to drop in the short term.
Any boost in consumer spending due to the stimulus program could affect two other metals used in automotive, appliance, and construction, and those are aluminum and copper.
Buyers paid 69 cents per pound for aluminum last month. That's 53% less than they paid in July, but only a penny less than they paid in January. But though the percentage of the price reductions has dropped in the last 2 months, analysts don't see much of a chance of prices going up soon. Persistent lack of demand has forced many smelting companies to cut production. Some analysts say nearly 6 million tons of annual capacity has been cut. So if demand rises, it may take a while for supply to catch up.
The $1.47 buyers paid for copper in February was the same price they paid in January and only 2 cents less than what they paid in December. But the price is still 63% off its 2008 peak of last April. Copper mill shipments in January were 30% below the January 2008 level.
On the electronics front, the average contract price for printed circuit boards, or PCBs, will drop in the second quarter, but then increase slightly in the third quarter and then stabilize. That's according to market researcher iSupply. Contract pricing for PCB in the second quarter is expected to fall to 15.3 cents per square inch, down 8.4% from 16.7 cents in October 2008. Pricing will rise 1.3% to 15.5 cents in the third quarter and will remain at that level in the fourth. So says the market researcher.
And worldwide shipments for polysilicon used in the manufacture of semiconductors and solar cell wafers reached 43,901 metric tons for the year, according to the Semiconductor Equipment and Materials Trade Group. Total polysilicon shipments increased in each quarter of 2008 as new capacity came online. Despite the slowdown in semiconductor activity late last year, polysilicon shipments in the fourth quarter still grew about 7% from the third quarter. The growth reflected the continued strong demand from the photovoltaic industry.
Finally, if you're looking for ways to save money in travel, American Express Business Travel has a suggestion. Give employees incentives to make smarter choices. Travel buyers at some companies have already taken to the idea. Pam McTeer, Strategic Sourcing Manager at Miller Coors, encourages compliance with company travel policy by letting employees pocket some savings when they opt to travel coach rather than business class on international flights. I think we have to balance measures that save money with employee satisfaction, she says.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of Purchasing's Midday Business Report.
You can get more information on these and other purchasing and supply chain topics at purchasing.com.
And see purchasing.com for daily updates of commodities and other important news.
Don't forget that March 25th webcast on risk management at purchasing.com.
I'm Paul Tague.
And I'm Tom Stunza.
Thanks for listening.